Hey guys, so the videos that you just saw was filmed with the Sony ZV1 straight out of the camera with our newest recipe. I hope you guys liked it. And we're going to talk about the recipe and also tell you guys some tips and tricks that we used when we were filming with the Sony ZV1. First of all, everything was not touched after filming. So no post-editing besides adding the black bars at the top and the bottom to make it with the aspect ratio of 2:3:5:1. And also we added a little bit of grain, but we did not touch the colors at all, and we did not touch the exposure. We're going to show you how we can get better exposure using this recipe straight out of the camera. So let's jump straight into the video footage to talk about some of the things that I noticed when I was using this recipe. So the first video or footage that I really like is this Canadian flag. You can tell that by looking at the scope or the RGB waveform, not like a vector scope, but the RGB waveform here, that everything is compressed. That is because it was a cloudy day, and this is one thing that you have to make sure when you're using this recipe. You cannot use it, especially on a Sony ZV1 or any camera that has like poor dynamic range, because you're going to overexpose or underexpose the image like quite easily, especially when you have a baked in look in camera already. So usually I prefer having a footage or having an image that is not super bright or not super dark. So you can see that here everything is kind of cloudy, and by looking at the waveform monitors, you can see that everything is compressed. Nothing is super bright, nothing is super dark. That's why I really like this video right here. If I'm not playing it. If I'm playing it, it looks super nice. It looks like slow motion, but it's not. It's just the flag that was like waving or blown by the wind that made it look like slow motion. But I really like this one because everything is compressed. The second clip that I really like was here. This is inside the train station in Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, and the lighting looks so nice. I don't know what they did to the windows, but a lot of times when you're filming indoor with a lot of natural light coming in through the windows, they usually look really soft, especially in train station. I don't know why. But here we have my main subject on the right hand side with the light coming from the window on the left hand side. That makes everything, all the light wraps around him, so that's why it looks super nice. With this recipe, you can tell that in the shadow there is some greens just to counter the magenta that I was talking about. I don't like having magenta in the shadows, but also because of the recipe, you can tell that the skin tone, it's a little bit towards the orange. So this recipe makes everything looks like teal and orange or green and orange, which is really cool. This is straight out of the camera. Nothing was added except grain and the black bars. So this is super nice. You can tell that this vending machine thingy at the back, it's not supposed to be that orange, but because of the recipe, I enhanced it, the red and the yellow, and I think I took off some greens in the recipe as well. So that's why the yellow moved towards orange a little bit more than what you usually see without the recipe. So this is super cool. And the blues are not being affected a lot, which is great. So everything looks super nice. If I play it back, it looks super cool. And then the next clip that I really like is this one. Is pretty cool as well because again, I have everyone's side lit by light coming in through the windows on the right hand side. Same thing, the shadows are a little bit greenish, but the skin tones are being more natural because of the enhanced red and yellow in the recipe. The next one is actually one of my favorite. This one right here, it's like basically the previous image, but I'm filming towards the window on the right hand side because it's a cloudy day. Again, if it's like super sunny and super contrasty with like super bright and dark area, it might not look as nice. Just to give you guys a heads up. So that's why I always like taking photos and videos during cloudy days. But here you can tell that like the greens are really nice inside the shadows area, and the orange and the reds and the yellows are really popping out because of that. Because in the color wheels, you let me show you like a color wheel. I'm going to turn on the vector scope. So here it's a color wheel, basically orange, red-ish color. It's kind of opposite to cyan, so that's why they're complementing each other. And this is the reason why I really like this kind of colors. You can see that there are some moire on the thingy, the rooftop here, but then that's just the way it is. I was filming in 1080p, no 4K, but maybe if I turn on 4K, it will get rid of the moire, the wavy kind of patterns. But it doesn't matter, it's just for the colors right now. The next one is here. This is another train station in Chinatown, Vancouver, where the elevator, the sky panels are allowing a lot of natural light coming in directly from above. You can tell that even like the midtones are a little bit greenish, but this light here, the fluorescent lights on the right hand side, they were supposed to be white, but because of the recipe, they turned them into kind of a yellowish tint, which is cool. And you can see that on the steps, these are not supposed to be that orangey. They're supposed to be yellow or even like greenish yellow. So the recipe really helps. And the reds are popping because of the recipe as well, which is complementing the overall image. You can see moire here, but who cares? This is just a sample for the videos. This guy was wearing like kind of an orangey red-ish kind of sweater. It really pops him out of the shadows or midtones. And then this one right here is really interesting because I purposely filmed the bush because I want to show you guys like without the recipe, if you have been using the ZV1 without any picture profile or anything like that, greens are usually not as nice looking in Sony cameras, especially with like older color science. Even with the new one, it's still not the best. The greens are towards like more yellow, and then yellows are more towards green. So that's why when you have skin tone, it looks kind of like the person will look kind of sick because it looks green. But the greens are usually yellowish. But with this recipe, everything looks healthy. The greens are a little bit more vibrant without looking yellowish. So that's why I filmed this to show you guys. And the reds are really popping at the back as well, you can see. And the last footage that I really like here is just me filming across the street. I feel like this is a pretty cool like framing. The color of this lady's hair is really popping because of the recipe. Same thing with these like signs or on the posters. The magenta, the pink hue, they're not being affected, which is awesome. Again, we're trying to create a look that looks unreal, but still natural. That's how I would approach when I'm color grading, even in post. I will definitely be happy with a result like this, but this is without me color grading the footage, which is, I don't even know how I figured this out, but I figured it out. I hope you guys like the recipe. If you guys like this kind of videos, let me know in the comment section below, because I would love to create more recipes for the Sony cameras, because I am also a Fujifilm user. They have a lot of recipes built into the camera that were created by other people that is really nice already. But Sony, they're not popular because of their colors. I feel like if we can create something with Sony cameras that makes it look nice straight out of the camera, a lot of people will benefit from it, because not everyone has the time or the knowledge to color grade in post. But if or even like the money to get the computer that is powerful enough to color grade, or the money to buy the software to color grade, especially if you don't have Final Cut, you don't have DaVinci Resolve. The free version is really powerful, but still, like, you still need to invest into the computer. But these like images straight out of the camera, I'm happy with them, and I'm sure a lot of like clients and friends are going to be happy with them, because like coming from a colorist point of view, I feel like this is good enough. The only couple of things that you have to watch out for, again, is to not film in a super bright area, because this recipe clips the highlights like pretty quickly. I set the zebra level to 80, 85 max on the ZV1, just to make sure that if everything, like anything shows up with a zebra, then it will show me and tell me that, oh, that's overexposing, so don't get there, come back down. I'd rather increase the exposure or brightness in post than having everything clipped in like camera that I cannot save in post. So that's one big thing. And also another tip that I have for you guys when I was using this recipe is to set the exposure to negative 1.3 or negative 1, negative 1.7. That's my kind of approach when I was using this recipe. I found that like the zebras are not really showing up with that kind of like exposure compensation. I was filming in aperture priority because of like time, and I don't want to have to like fiddle with like an ND filter, but that's just approximately like the exposure that I would go with this recipe. And yeah, that's it. This is my really official built from ground up kind of recipe for Sony cameras. Let me know in the comment section down below if you like this recipe. Again, I would just post the recipe so you don't have to like watch me like going through the settings. But then if you want to watch me going through the settings, I will probably add it at the beginning or like at the end of this video, just to show you guys how to do it in camera if you don't know how to like fiddle with the manual system on the Sony camera, especially the old ones. But other than that, yeah, that's it. I just want to show this or share this with you guys. Let me know if you like this recipe. Let me know if you're using this recipe for your projects. I would love to see them, because that's how we grow together. And yeah, I promise in the future the videos are going to be nicer, but then I'm still unpacking. I hope the audio is going to be nicer because of this microphone. This is my new investment. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, so I'm going to quickly use my phone to film my Sony ZV1 manual or the screen to show you how to set up this recipe. This is just a quick demonstration using a older Sony manual camera. So if you have the newer cameras, it might look a little different, but you just need to find the manual items. So let's jump straight into the profile. So this is with the recipe already. I saved it in a custom mode. If you go into manual and on the first tab, page 9, you can see that there is picture effect and picture profile. Picture effect is off because you're using a custom picture profile. This is where you set the recipe. So if we jump straight into it, I have the recipe saved in my PP10, which is picture profile slot 10, because I don't think I need the original one. But by the way, if you want to reset back to the original picture profile settings, you can just go into the picture profile and click on reset. So this is the recipe. The black levels, I set it to 10 basically. Plus 10 means it's less contrasty. I can see that the blacks are being lifted. I kind of like that kind of that look. But if you go all the way to plus 15, that's too much. And then if you go to the other side, it's gonna crush the blacks like that. So I have it set to plus 10. And gamma, this is basically the contrast of the entire image, because gamma curve is just a contrast curve. And I was choosing between all these modes, and I found that still works the best for this recipe. So that's still black gamma. I did not touch this. It's still in the middle, level 0. Knee, same thing. I did not touch this part because I have no idea what this actually means. But as long as the image is contrasty and saturated, I don't really need to touch this, at least for my kind of style. Color mode, this is another way to enhance the colors of your image. It's just different settings. I have it set to Pro. And then saturation, I have it set to +5. I think that's a little bit too much. I might tone it down in the future, but for now, +5 means is pretty saturated. You can lower it, of course, based on your taste, but then I have it set to +5 for now. If you want to lower it, just go down, but I have it set to +5. Color phase, this one right here, I believe it shifts the color if I'm not mistaken. It's really hard to tell right now what it does to the image because I was testing it outside and I was changing the settings, and I believe if it affects how magenta and green the image is, but I have it set to +4. Color depth, this is where the main colors are going to be affected. I have red set to +5 because I want to counter the white balance shift that I'm going to show you later that I set to green 2. So that's why I have it set to +5. So the reds are not going to turn into like greenish. And then green, oh, I did not touch green. I thought I lowered the greens, but I did not touch the green or blue or cyan, so 0, 0, 0. Magenta is -7. I lowered it so it doesn't look like I have a lot of IR pollution, which is basically the sun bouncing off of material that is darker or black and turn into magenta, so I don't like that kind of hue. Yellow, I have it set to +5. So these two, the reds and the yellows, they are being set to a higher level to counter the white balance shift of green that we're going to talk about later. So this is the color depth settings. Detail, I have it set to -7. I think it's totally fine. I have my recording quality set to HD, which is not 4K when I was filming outdoor because the screen brightness cannot be adjusted to a higher, so I couldn't see the screen, so that's why I was filming in HD and -7 detail, and that's totally fine. I don't like super sharp images anyway. So that's the settings of my picture profile, and I have it set to PP10 and I have it set to a custom mode. Let's talk about the white balance. So the white balance, I have a shortcut set to the top button of my camera. This one, I have it set to a custom temperature. When I was filming outdoor, I have it set to 5600 Kelvin. That's daylight balance. This you can shift based on your taste or based on your situation or environment. But this is the important part. I have the white balance shift set to green +2 to add the green hue, as you can see in the image, especially the shadows and a little bit of the highlight. But midtone, because of the +2 red and +5 red and +5 yellows, I have the midtone set to a little bit of the orangey side to counter the greens. That's why you have this skin tone of being a little bit orangey and going against the green shadows and highlights. So that's why. So white balance shift, G2, or green +2, and color temperature, set it to your liking. And yeah, that's it. I have it saved to custom mode, and I have actually quick menu in my camera where I can save my custom or recipe or whatever settings to a custom mode. I have it set to memory 1. So yeah, you can definitely give it a try and see if you like this recipe, and let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions. Thank you.